Manu, so okay, I just got a note and I'm going to need your cooperation. Apparently, this is being live streamed. And I would just ask you, please, to contain your personal attacks because, like people we're not sure of may hear. And I'm very vulnerable. So please, let's make today work, okay? It's good to be back with you. It's good to be back with everyone. Howard, you're wearing glasses that are what, tinted? It looks tinted. I don't.
Muted.
Okay. I can't hear you. You're muted, but you may be muted, but your shirt certainly is not muted. Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's a whole shirt.
Whoa. Okay. Anyway, it's good to be with everybody. I am going to have, and I'm sure you're all desperately interested in this. I'm going to have a wonderful week this week. This is the week of the Hartman Rabbinic Studies program from Jerusalem. So I'm going to be online studying from 7 in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon from Sunday through Thursday. So I'm going to be absolutely enjoying myself. And then late Thursday night, I expect to collapse. And that'll be fun. They're going to be great teachers. And the best part of the program is Chevruta. I have a group of 4 other rabbis with whom I've been studying 12, 14 years. And we will meet at 7 every morning to prepare our lessons for the rest of that day. And it's like, we are so old that we spend the first part talking about health issues, then gossiping about dead colleagues, and then we actually do some text. So that's very nice. This is, congratulations. This is a very complicated day. This is a very complicated day. And I had to even write down all the things that make today complicated. Today is Rosh Chodesh Av. Rosh Chodesh Av. It is the beginning of the month of Av, A-V. What is significant about the month of Av?
Tisha B'Av occurs.
Now, Tisha B'Av will hit soon, and therefore this is Shabbat Mavorchim. This is the Sabbath in which we bless the new moon, the beginning today of Av. And I was in contact with a colleague talking about requesting that colleague to write a chapter in my book. And this colleague said to me, I don't think I can breathe. I'm writing high holiday sermons. And I'm so glad it came across as an email because I laughed and laughed and laughed with absolutely no empathy. So I just think that's terrific. So Rosh Hashanah is Av Elul, 2 months. We're going to be into Rosh Hashanah really quickly. But besides being Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, we are in a section of the year known as Bein HaMitzarim. Bein HaMitzarim. It comes from a biblical quote, but basically it is in the tough spot, in a difficult period. The 3 weeks before Tisha B'Av are called Bein HaMitzarim. Bein HaMitzarim. So we are also in that. The first mention that I could find of Bein HaMitzarim, or at least the period of fasting before Tisha B'Av, this period seems to be in the prophet Zechariah. But I'm not going to be able to validate that. That seems to be my memory of that. And during this 3-week period, no weddings, no haircuts, no shaving. Now, you will notice traditionally observant men, in today's world, it's less obvious when you see men growing beards because that happens a lot. But this is a time for 3 weeks in which traditional men will not shave. Then, not only are we blessing the new month and Bein HaMitzarim, but we are in the 9-day countdown to Tisha B'Av. And that means what? No meat for 9 days. No meat, no strong drink, with one exception. One day you're allowed to have meat and drink wine. That day is Shabbat. So I have told you before, I led a rabbinic delegation to Israel during this 9-day period. And the delegation was mixed: Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Chabad, and Sephardic. And out of a sense of collegiality, we all ate the same meals, the same restaurants prepared in advance by Federation. I ate fish for 9 days, with the exception of Shabbat. Fish every day. I started the period liking fish. I ended the period having a troubled relationship with fish. It was like up to here. And bad for industry. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not to wear new clothing between now and Tisha B'Av, okay? So you get all that. If you have all these nice new clothes coming in that you've ordered because the world has opened up, don't wear the new clothing during these 9 days. I think I had, we had a burst of chatting that I haven't been paying attention to. The first part was attacking me for my inability to hear. Okay, so I got that done. Then what is the significance of not shaving, Herman asks. And the significance is mourning, M-O-U-R. It's a mourning practice. God forbid Jews in mourning, male Jews in mourning will not shave. And you will see that. They may not shave for 11 months prior to the first yahrzeit. So this is a period of mourning for the destruction of the temple. And so we have that. Do you have any idea what all of those events do to the Torah and Haftorah readings for today? I mean, please don't learn this, because it took me 20 minutes to wade through the variations. So, I forgot something else about today. It's also the last readings of the book of Numbers. Today is a Siyum day. All of that is happening today. Now, our Sedra is Matot-Masei, the last chapters of the book of Numbers. So you have to read Numbers 30, verse 2 through chapter 36, finish off the book. Fine. But because it's Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, because it's new moon, we read from Jeremiah. We read from Jeremiah, and that's pre-Tisha B'Av. We'll read Isaiah, that's pre-Tisha B'Av, and we'll read Isaiah another part, there are new moon references. So we are reading shtiklach. What is the translation of shtiklach? Little pieces of prophetic readings reflecting new moon, the coming of Tisha B'Av, and all the things that are happening in the world. Now that you've learned this, do you feel uplifted? Do you feel, let's see, is it especially significant if someone dies on the 1st of Av? Harvey, first of all, I have to fight my, oh, that was Mona, but it came across as Harvey. Come on. Okay. You have led me into temptation. I was going to make a wise ass response to, is it especially significant if someone dies on the 1st of Av? And I would say for the person who died, most definitely. I mean, but that's not nice. That's not what you're asking. To my knowledge, no. I am not aware of any, there are comments that dying on Shabbat is a dying with the kiss of God, that it's a special time. But Tisha B'Av, or this period, 1st of Av, so dying today, God forbid, would be a kiss of God, a blessing, but not related to Tisha B'Av. Okay? Okay, I am sure you're totally blown away with all of this information. So on July 17th at 6 p.m., our congregation will be hosting Tisha B'Av services. 6 p.m., July 17th, the congregation is hosting Tisha B'Av services. I'm going to make a brief comment that I'm really sorry this is being recorded or live streamed, but I, just among the few of us, I am not expecting on that broadcast to hear the full reading of the Book of Lamentations. Many liberal congregations do not read all of Lamentations. So after participating on July 17th, 6 p.m., and at the Wilshire Boulevard University Tisha B'Av services, I am going to go online and find another happy place where I can sit and listen to the entire chanting of the book of Eicha, of Lamentations. If you ask me why, it's a strange answer. This Tisha B'Av is the only day of the year when we were living in Jerusalem that I felt a need to be at the Kotel. It's the only day. And I would go there, and please notice the singular. Those of you who know Risa, I would go there and probably hang around for 4 hours, listening to all the communities chanting Lamentations at their own pace with their own people. And I found it very meaningful. The next week, the idea of going to the Kotel was totally unappealing. But Tisha B'Av, the destruction of Jerusalem, I could connect. I am going to move now to the work, our study, but let me just ask, I threw a lot of stuff at you. It was just a weird day. Do you have any questions about any of the Rosh Chodesh, the Tisha B'Av, the Ben HaMetzarim, the 9 days of Av? Please, yes, Merle.
Isn't there a fast day involved with Tisha B'Av too?
Yes, most definitely. Tisha B'Av is a fast day. It's a 24-hour fast day for those who are traditionally observant. Yes. So okay. You lead off with 8 straight days of fish, and the 9th day you don't eat. So it's really a period of great suffering. In my world, I will not eat Erev Tisha B'Av. I observe a very modified fast. I do that just for me. There are many people who observe the total fast. That's not my particular custom. Thank you. Any other questions about this warm up for this rather complicated period? Okay, I put you to sleep already. I feel good about that. Now, let me make you excited. What happens on July 23rd? The biggest international COVID spreader the Olympics will begin on July 23rd. And even though you will not see Risa at the Kotel listening to lamentations, you can find her in front of the television watching women's gymnastics. So you certainly will know where to find her. And today we're going to finish our study of the book of Numbers. We're going to have a siyum. First of all, deep breath. I want to check in with you. And Valerie, hello, Valerie Wade. Can you unplug yourself? Put your glasses on so you can find. Okay. We're really glad to see you, Valerie. Tell us.
A little about myself?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm taking Judaism by choice. And I live about 2 blocks away. And I've been studying Judaism. And I'm converting from another religion. It's from Catholicism. And I'm doing it to grow closer to God and gain more experience and more knowledge about the Torah and the Old Testament and just be a more fulfilled person and happy with what I'm doing and grow.
I can't speak for anybody. Sure, I'll speak for you. Welcome. We're really, really, really honored to have you here.
Thank you.
And this is a freewheeling group. So wave a hand and participate, question, anything at all. Yeah, anything at all. And that's really, really, really excellent. Thank you. And Brucha haba, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Any other things within your family life?
I'm just really glad my family supports me in doing this. And I have other aunts and uncles that were Jewish that practice Judaism. And I'm just really glad I'm going through this process to enlighten myself more.
Super, super, super. So it's coming home. It's coming home. We were waiting for you.
Oh, thank you.
Abby, I'm not going to push. How are you feeling?
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
I'll see how I'm doing on Tuesday. I'm a little scared about that.
Our prayers are with you, Abby. You know that.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Anything else, Jim? Jim?
We have a film tonight. It's called Dick Johnson is Dead. It's available on Netflix. The discussion of it is at 7:30. It's a delightful documentary that's a lot of fun about an 80-year-old psychiatrist and his relationship with his 40-something daughter. She's a filmmaker, and they decided to make a film while he's still in good health. He's in the early stages of dementia, but totally funny and warm, a great guy. And it isn't anything about Alzheimer's. I heard we have a criticism that I programmed too many films about Alzheimer's. Of course, it was somebody who never attended a film group, so I don't know what she was talking about.
Well, they don't remember.
Well, maybe I don't remember. I didn't recognize the name, but it's funny. It's not very sad. It's a very droll sense of humor. But it really is a lesson in how to live your life to the fullest. And it'll be a great discussion.
One of us, including me, seen the film already because Risa made me. And it's really funny and very bright. It will not leave anyone down. It's really quite an artistic and personal exercise. Anyway, good film. There was a comment about Tu B'Av, and Tu B'Av, Tu is Hebrew letters for 15, Tu B'Av. 2 is, that's how it works out, 9 and 6 are 15. And Tu B'Av is indeed Valentine's Day, Israeli style. It is the love holiday for Israelis and for everyone else who observes it. Tamara has indicated it's also like Sadie Hawkins Day in that women choose their partners. Yes, and I'm happy to say that over the course of the last 10 or 15 years, it has been American commercialized. So you go in and buy candy and roses and all that, and it's vaguely stolen from the American experience. Okay, it's a happy day. Tu B'Av is a happy day. 9th of Av, terribly sad. Tu B'Av, very, very happy. But then after Tu B'Av, 15th of Av, you are on a real countdown to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Nothing gets in the way. Okay, now, any other checking in? We're going to move forward. Good. Page 1128. Page 1128 in the Plout.
Chapter and verse, please.
Will you give me a second to breathe, Effie? I mean,
Verse,
I have to be nice. You're a class member. Yes. Okay. Sure, Effie. Plout, chapter 36, verse 10. Book of Numbers, chapter 36, verse 10. 1128. And in the women's commentary, 1027. So I'm going to 1128. 1128. Okay. Okay, Effie, read it so that you don't complain that we don't do Torah. Read verses 10 through 13, please. I can't hear you for some reason. Oh, that's because you're muted.
My translation is so different. I don't want to read it.
Oh, okay. Does anyone else want to read? Do we have a reader for the last verses of Numbers? A reader? A reader? A reader? Ugh, I really put you to sleep. Okay, Cindy, please, come on.
I have to get my glasses. Okay.
Okay.
36, starting with the daughters of Zelophehad. Is that where we are?
Daughters of Zelophehad, yes.
Did as Adonai had commanded Moses. Mahlah, Tirzah, Haglah, Milcah, and Noah. Zelophehad's daughters were married to sons of their uncles, marrying into clans of descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph. And so their share remained in the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commandments and regulations that Adonai enjoined upon the Israelites through Moses on the steps of Moab at the Jordan near Jericho.
And does someone want to read the Hebrew, just verse 13? Someone want to read the Hebrew? Going once, going twice? Okay, Steve Miller, go.
Elah hamitzvot hamshpatim asher tzava Adonai biyad Moshe el bnei Yisrael ba'arbot Moav al Yarden Yerehu.
Yerecho. And now we say the Chazak, right? Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek. Let us be strong. Let us be strong. Let us strengthen one another. We don't have, Cindy, any herring. It's just, no herring today.
Next time, maybe we'll be in person.
Okay, boy, do I look forward to that. But I will lift up my slivovitz and salute you and we and us. And if you have a fancy, I'm going to have to explain this process to Valerie, but not now. We always have a little party as we finish the study of each of the 5 books of the Torah. When we are together, we actually have a really big spread. And for me, for the last 40 or 50 years, a little plum brandy. And I'm going to say the blessing. You remember it's Borei Pri Ha'etz because it's not grapes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei Pri Ha'etz.
Amen.
I will not drive today. It doesn't get any better. Okay. Good. Okay. We have now done our ritual completion. I would like for a moment to show you the extent of my preparation today. I want to turn to the Women's Commentary, page 1028. People ask about this, and there is just a very helpful comment here on 1028. Anyone want to help me with the reading since I'm blinded by alcohol? Anyone want to help read English? Any volunteer? Okay. What about it, Lynn? Will you volunteer? Oh, you have to have the Women's Commentary. Okay. She'll be back. She's now disappearing into the backdrop. Isn't that weird?
She's going to the beach to get her book.
I don't. Yes, it was found under a palm tree. We're on page 1028. Okay, unmute there.
Okay. I'm finding my page.
And just read just the first paragraph and a little bit of the second, that's all.
1028. I'm not sure where.
In the Women's Commentary, 1028.
Page 10, I'm on it.
There's a note that says.
We're married to their uncles? That's what
Yes, yes.
Okay. Although they can marry any man from the very large tribe of Manasseh, the sisters choose their cousins. There is no reason to suppose, as Jacob Milgram does, that the land was transferred to the husbands once the women married. The Bible does not prohibit wives from owning property.
Okay, that's the first thing. What I liked is the little critical aside to a very famous Bible commentator. For those of you who follow Jacob Milgram, he's wrong. Okay, I just thought that was kind of nice, very nice. Go ahead.
Furthermore, the earliest Jewish contracts that we have illustrate that women continued to own property after marriage and that parents bequeathed property to both sons and daughters.
Please hold on to this, okay? What Lynn is reading, it really clarifies many questions. Go on.
Documents from the Jewish community in Elephantine, Egypt, include several marriage contracts and sale contracts. In several documents dated around 460 to 447 BCE.
Can you take a deep breath on that? 2,500-year-old ketubot, wedding contracts from Elephantine in Egypt, where there was a significant Jewish garrison. Go ahead, please.
The father of Tahaya transfers property to her even though he has sons. The property remains hers at marriage. In one case, her husband, who apparently approved one of the several properties in question, or is expected to, is assured that he will have power over half of that particular property for the improvement which you made.
Thank you. We can just stop there. But for the lawyers in the group, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? That if you make improvements on a property, you are gaining certain ownership rights. And these are contracts 2,500-year-old from the Jewish community in Elephantine. But it does talk about legal rights that women had. And that's really important. Now, this next part is not going to be fun. And this is what we're going to end with. And this is tough. If you look, please, Numbers 3350, page 1121. And again, Numbers 3350, 1121 in the Plout, 1018 in the WRJ commentary. I thought a lot about whether I would continue my practice of skipping this section. But I decided not to. So we're in 1121, starting with verse 50. I'm going to read a little bit. And look, it's going to be obvious that this has very contemporary resonance, okay? Very contemporary resonance. In the steppes of Moab, at the Jordan near Jericho, that's where the Israelites are at the very end of the book of Numbers. They are literally on the other side of the Jordan River. I have stood in that place directly facing Jericho, and you can actually see a bit of Jerusalem from that spot in Jordan. It takes all the book of Deuteronomy to get across the Jordan River. Okay? They are there. Listen to this. Speak to God says to Moses, speak to the Israelite people and say to them, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall dispossess all the inhabitants of the land. Are you following? You shall come in, you shall dispossess all the inhabitants of the land. You shall destroy all their figured objects. We'll talk about this. You shall destroy all their molten images. You shall demolish all their cult places, and you shall take possession of the land and settle in it. For I have assigned the land to you to possess. And then it goes on, you shall apportion the land by size, throwing of lots. Verse 55. But if you do not dispossess the inhabitants of the land, those whom you allow to remain shall be stings in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall harass you in the land which you live, so that I will do to you what I planned to do to them. This is a very, very, very important passage. When I looked at 52, you shall dispossess. The Hebrew v'horashtem. V'horashtem, you may know the Yiddish, a Yerusha. Have you heard of this? An inheritance. V'horashtem is causative. You will gather this as your inheritance. You're going to take full possession, full possession. You will drive them out and you will take possession. Rashi asks an immediate question. Why? Why is this being said here? It's been said before. And Rashi answers his question, he always does, by saying they are standing at the shores of the Jordan River. And God is making clear, if when you cross over the Jordan on the way to enter the land, and your intention is not to dispossess the native inhabitants, then you will drown in the Jordan. That's what God is going to do to you. You will be drowned. I'm open to a few comments. I am interested in your comments. Howard? Howard?
Yeah, so when the Spanish conquered Mexico, that was their plan. They very carefully demolished everything in the culture, all the codices, all the statues. They used the carved bricks from the temples to make floors, and yeah, so they must have read this.
Okay, that's a happy thought. They also, in their luggage, they carried a lot of germs, so that those whom they did not directly kill, they indirectly killed. Yes, okay, Panina? No, you're muted.
Okay, I'm okay now?
Yep.
All right. Or the word Yerusha, lehorish, it's you actually get something that belongs to your family or to somebody that, somebody who gives it to you, or you inherit something already that belongs to the family. Otherwise, it's not Yerusha, it's just possession. So shlita, whatever you want to call it. So I think because the tribes that never left still lived there, there were involved in wars all the time, and land that they lost in those wars, or was possessed by their neighbors who did not believe in the Ten Commandments or in God, the Jewish, whatever you want to call it, our God, or everybody's God. They still believed in idols, and it was a mixture over there. So they were supposed to raise their flags and go back to each of them, to the tribes that were already there. So clean up the area, because you are going back to what's yours actually before, but now they have the 10 Commandments. So it's a different setup of rules. So they
Okay,
don't say to kill them, they say get rid of the idols, get rid of all this stuff.
it says, "V'horashtem et kol yoshvei haaretz mipnechem v'ibadtem." Okay, but yes, believe me, there are many people who read this as justified. And Fern, hi Fern. You had
Hi. Well, as I do with much of what seems to me extraordinarily barbaric in today's terms, I would prefer to see it metaphorically, that perhaps could be seen as we have a responsibility to accept our heritage, to accept that which we are. And if we fail to do so, we will lose it. We will lose everything.
I agree.
Okay, I'm open, please, because this is a very fraught political passage in 2021. Any other thoughts? Any other responses to the passage? Mara?
As I read this, I think of what does you really mean? And to me, it means accepting the covenant, accepting the 10 Commandments. So simply physically going into a land and dispossessing those who are there is inadequate if you as a nation live a life that does not abide by the mitzvot. And I would apply that to today's Israel.
Good. And I'm going to continue without making interjections. I'm controlling myself. Brad.
Well, I didn't raise my hand, but what I was thinking was that it's kind of a statement about the fragility of this embryonic cult, the Jewish cult, the Jewish group, that their faith is so fragile that in order to protect it, they have to dispossess the people that live in this territory because of the threat of idolatry. That idolatry is such a powerful threat that this embryonic group, is so fragile that the only way to protect it is to remove the threat.
Thank you. I mean, you're really drilling down, folks. This is good. Other comments? No, Panita, I'm going to wait for others to see if others want to join in. Merle.
I feel like it's one more message from God. If you don't do what I say, this is what's going to happen, which he says all through the Torah. That, if you don't do this, this is going to be your punishment, or you're not going to get what I told you you would get. So this is kind of like the last hurrah. Do it now or else. It's just another reminder.
Thank you.
Brutal, but another reminder.
I got it, Jim.
Is this the passage that is most often quoted by settlers on the West Bank, especially the ultra-Orthodox settlers there, who said, well, this is our land, God gave it to us? Or is it just a whole bunch of passages like this that they wave in your face to say that there's no other reason for this?
There are other passages. This one is as clear as it could be. There are other statements, but this is as clear as it could be. When you talk, Jim, about the promised land, when you think about promised land, God promised the land to us. How do we know that? We wrote it down. So it's obvious that God promised the land to us. And having made the promise, God went out to Starbucks. Because who is going to do V'horashtem? Who is going to do the dispossessing? You got to do it. Good. I promise, that's really if you were raising kids. Oh, I promise you, a hot fudge sundae today. And then the parent walks away. Whoa, wait a second.
Well, it's so you'll have skin in the game. It's cunning in a way.
Very, very important. I want to look at in verse 52. Not only do you kick, and this validates Jim's perspective, not only do you dispossess the inhabitants, but you have to destroy their, it says, figured objects. I have trouble with trying to understand that phrase.
In English, it reads like graven images, but what is?
Yeah,
idols.
Masechot, it can be that what you have to do is not only kick everybody out who's living there, you have to destroy all their places of worship. And when, let's see, is it Rashi? No, the Targum, when the Targum addresses this, it says, those pagans had fancy tile floors on which they threw themselves down to bow and to worship. So not only do you have to get rid of the pagan idol and drive the people out, but you have to destroy the floors too. You have to destroy anything that connects the land and you to idolatry. And if you don't drive them out, you do not deserve the land. The price of the land is the expulsion of the Canaanites. Ramban, Nachmanides, offers, again, this is like it was written today. Nachmanides, yeah, you're supposed to go in and destroy the inhabitants, destroy their worship places, but B'nai Yisrael, if you seek to conquer beyond, Steve, wait 1 second. If you seek to conquer beyond the biblical borders of the land, you are violating God's will. So that when you look at those within the Israeli political spectrum who want a land stretching from Lebanon to the Nile, Ramban is saying, no, you are to have the biblical boundaries, nothing more, nothing less. I did see, Effie, yeah, I know you were waving. Yes, please. And then Steve Miller, I will, I promise.
Okay, so God has seen that since we left Egypt, we are not very satisfied. And we make golden statues, and we complain about the bread, and we complain about the food, and we're not still free of all of the things that are around us. We are easily influenced by things around us. So what God is saying here, I want you to get rid of everything that can possibly tempt you, because I know you are people who are easily tempted. So get rid of everything that's tempting.
Yes. Brief answer. Yes. Yes, Effie. Yes. Steve.
It's actually Mona.
I just wanted to ask.
This is very confusing for me. Okay, Mona.
I wanted to ask if this text indicates that holy places should not be erected in places that were sacred to the dispossessed tribes, that you should avoid those locations.
Boy, whoever you are, Steve or Mona or whatever, that's a really good point, because it is close to a universal custom in the ancient Middle East to build religious site on top of religious site.
Not just the ancient Middle East, in North America, when the Spaniards, when the conquistadors came, they deliberately put churches where there had been Incan or Mayan or other indigenous sacred places.
So let me offer an even more contemporary support for what you said, Mona. I was reading in the Times, New York Times, a couple of days ago about the expansion of indigenous peoples, Native Americans, into ownership of property beyond casino building. And during the period of intense COVID, when property values were declining, the tribal structures made some significant purchases of major buildings, which they assert were built on native land. That by buying this big bank building, which they believe is built upon a sacred piece of Native American soil, they are reclaiming ownership, belonging, connection to that spot. People are funny about buying property and seeing these connections. So very definitely we build on top of. Panina, then Merle.
Okay. Am I muted?
No.
Oh, you're
Okay.
fine.
All right. I'm looking at what's happening today because people think that this is what's happening today with the Palestinians. We have to remember that in 1948, the land was divided and there was a place for the Palestinians that they supposed to be their land. And we were willing to share and they didn't. They started the war that we lost 10,000 of our finest young people. They just did not want to share. So, and also there is a rule in the Torah that says that we should treat a stranger as our own, to be very, very inclusive with them, to them. The idea is to destroy the idols, okay, and still there is today a big temple that the Palestinians come and worship to, and it's built on the top of the holy temple that we were supposed to have there and was destroyed by the Romans. So we still keep it. There is guards guarding it, so everybody can go there and no harm should come to it. So we have to see what all those rules really affect us the way we are today. And we had laws, yes, but also they kept changing according to accommodate people and to keep them alive, and that's it. That's all I can say.
Okay.
So you can understand that people wrote that. People wrote the Bible and things happen through the years. And what happened with Cyrus? Cyrus allowed all the temples to be built again because he believed to be good with all the gods. So at the times also dictate things that will that happened and will happen. So don't jump on the Israelis right now. Remember exactly where they were in 1948 when it was declared independent. We were willing to share. The Palestinians did not want to, and they don't want to, and they want to drive us, and so we should drown in the sea. Remember that. Okay. And the word Palestina was given by the Romans. It means a land that was invaded.
Panina, we're not going to do history that deeply, but I will say that almost everything you said is heavily contested by others.
Okay.
No, it doesn't make it wrong or right. I'm just saying that's why this is a very fraught passage. It is a very tough passage.
Yes.
Because we interpret it by our own experiences and so forth. Any other comment on this? We're going to move on. Okay, please, Merle.
So what you said before about, one of the things that I've noticed most of my life is that when a church moves out of a piece of property, very often a synagogue moves in.
And vice versa.
And I was going to say that.
Yes.
The other thing is the Native Americans, we live about a mile from one of the largest reservations here in Phoenix. And if you notice, the major coliseums, and a third one is about to be built in Scottsdale, actually, that they're all named after the tribes in Arizona, because they do believe that that is sacred land. And the other piece of that is that on the reservation, they rent all their property out to whoever wants to build on it or use their property. They don't sell it because they feel that it's sacred property and they don't want to give up that property. And by renting it out or leasing it out, long-term leases, they feel that they still have control over their property. And in Scottsdale, especially, the reservation, which is very close to us, they get a lot of money that they put back into education from the property that they rent and the casinos and everything else. So it's all about sacred property to them.
If you want to get a little bit of Slivovitz and sit around with friends in a darkened apartment with candles burning, just simply say, how do you balance sacred lives and sacred territory?
Right.
How do you, and I'm not saying which way to go, I'm just saying, boy, would that be an interesting conversation. By the way, Fern, I see your hand, and there's something I got to do, but I'll get to you. There was a headline in the New York Times a couple of days ago, Germany has not done enough, apologizing wasn't enough. And a fascinating article by a family survival of a slaughter of Namibians in Africa by the Germans. The article was written by a family survivor and a Holocaust survivor, and it was not at all demeaning of the Holocaust or comparing it exactly. They were careful, but they just were talking about what does justice look like. It was a fascinating essay. Please go ahead. I'm sorry, Fern.
No, it just seems to me that all the earth, all our land, all of the earth is on loan to us. And that loan shifts depending at what point in history you intersect it. That if you look at, there was a movie about a Palestinian woman who went to a Jewish woman in Israel and wanted her land back. And the Jewish woman said, you know, fine, you go to Poland and get me my land back. And, you know, that story is not just a Jewish story, it's a story all over the world that as we migrated and went different places, it belonged to different people at different times. And if you look at it in a much broader way, though, it's all on loan to us at any given time. And simply saying that it's God-given to us at one moment in history doesn't begin to address the broader issue that everything we have is temporary.
Thank you. By the way, not only was your comment brilliant, but Joseph was so excited by what you said. His head was, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Last thought, just because we're running out of time, and it's an incredible thing that we could be involved here for a whole weekend. Rambam, Nachmanides, and that which our rabbis have emphasized, the significance of the commandment of settling in the land of Israel. It's not just conquering, it's living there. It's living there. And that it is, listen to this, forbidden to leave the land once you have gotten there. And the fact that they consider a woman who does not want to emigrate with her husband to live in the land of Israel is a rebellious wife to be divorced. And the man, if he refuses to go with her, he can be forced to go. And if he still refuses, he must divorce her. And Nachmanides says the basis for all of that is the section which we just read. The reason why the Lubavitcher Rebbe said he could never visit the land of Israel is that once he goes, he could never leave. Unfortunately, the Lubavitcher didn't read the first part, which said you are obligated to go. But that, think about that. If you don't make Aliyah, you are violating God's word. And if you are Stanley Davids, who had to leave Israel for health reasons, you have violated God's will. We live in a very fraught time. There's so much to talk about. I'm sure you'll have conversations about it. You didn't answer Mona's question. Was building on a pagan sacred site forbidden? No. No, it happened all the time, Steve. It happened all the time. Could this be practical so that the ruling civilization could not exist with pluralism on the same land? And Joseph, that is so correct. It is still true. It is true in America. the greatest struggle in America for the Jews who came here wanting to be fully identified with the majoritarian culture, to still find a way to live a particularistic life, which is why early 20th century Reformed Jews set up their major services on Sunday morning. That is true. I mean, that is a big, true statement. Ladies and gentlemen, this was fantastic. Thank you. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Well, Tamara, did you have something? No, you're just waving. Okay, very good. Shabbat shalom. Love everybody.
Shabbat shalom. This was wonderful as always.
Shabbat
shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Come back, Valerie.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Yes. You got it.